Hi, I'm Linda Faulkner. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have a website at www.crafterinspired.com. Today we are doing the last of a series of customer-only exclusive videos. This is the last one. We are adding the box to the 4 birthday cards that we've already made. So today we're going to be making the happy birthday box. It has a handle and it is secured with a little bit of Velcro, and that will hold all the cards plus probably more. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to need to do is some scoring on a sheet of 8.5 by 11. This is the new Flirty Flamingo Pink. Isn't that gorgeous? So I've got the whole sheet and I need to make some score lines. I'm going to start with, and I've already done it if you can see that some of them are already cut, but I want to show you the idea. I'm going to start on the long side and I'm going to make 2 score lines on the long side. The first one is going to be at 4.5 inches. So I'm simply just line up the long side at 4.5 inches. And then make sure you're using your scoring blade. On the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, it's the light gray. Do keep your cutting blade far, far away. So I'm going to go back and forth, score that. Then I'm going to do another score line at 6.5 inches. Then I'm going to turn it to the short side. On this side, I'm going to be scoring at 1 1/4 inches. All the way down, and I go back and forth a couple of times, and then you're going to do that again at 7 1/4 on the short side, right there. Once your score lines are done, you're going to make 2 cuts. You're going to cut on the score line that you have in the middle. This is the bottom of the box in the center, so I'm going to make a cut up to the score line, and using that on the long side, cut up to the first score line, and you're going to do that cut on both sides, right here to the score line and here to the score line. And that's going to give you a flap that you can bend just like that. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is to use my bone folder and make nice creases along all of those score lines. So I'm just simply going to pull it up, use a bone folder to go down the edge and make a nice sharp crease. That will make your box go together more easily, and it's going to look better and hold its shape. So you're going to do that on both sides for all of those marks. Okay. So I've got the long sides done. Now I need to fold the short side up and use my bone folder to score that line. You see how this is working? And see, this is the bottom of my box, and this one all the way across. Okay, so your box is starting to take shape. Before we put it together, I'd like to add some of the paper on the outside of it. So to do that, I'm going to do the front and the back, and I'm using the Birthday Bouquet Designer Series paper, and I'm going to cut 2 rectangles, 5.5 by 4 inches. So once I do that, they are going to look like this. And I'm going to use, you can't use tape runner. It's not going to be strong enough to hold it because the box is going to have some movement to it. So I'm going to use Fast Fuse, which looks like this. You can also use the Terran tape. Either one works just fine, but they're a little stronger. So I'm going to use my Fast Fuse. If you have any trouble, sometimes you have to get it started a little bit. The next step is the lid. I want to put the lid on before I adhere the front part of my paper because it's going to need to cover up part of this lid. So I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo, 6 inches by 5 3/4 inches, and I'm going to score that at 1 3/4 and 3 3/4 on the short side. So once you have that scored, use your bone folder to make a nice crease, and we're going to attach your lid to the top of your box. And it's going to be attached to the back. So I have the back of my box here, and I want to look for the shortest panel. I'm going to take my fast fuse, run it down my short panel, and I'm going to do it 2 places. At the very bottom, and this is on the inside, and then at right close to the crease, and do that check mark. Once you do that, you're going to attach it, and I like to kind of fold it so that I get a really good line there. Fold it, and you can see exactly where it goes. Attach it to the top, and then you can add your paper. And I'll just center that, and part of it's going to cover the back of the lid. Okay. Now we're ready to assemble our box. I have my tape runner here, fast fuse here. I'm going to do the same thing on the back side on the other side. You need to make them on the same side. Okay, and now we can put our box together. Lay it to the front. Fold those center flaps in. And then here we're going to, you see there's your tape runner, so that's going to go on the bottom. Stand it up so that you get it nice and flat. And you can just see you want it to be about the same length. Push your hands inside to press that together. And you're going to do that on both sides. See how your box is going together? Perfect. Now we're going to add the 2 side panels. I'm using just a designer series paper, 1 5/8 by 4 1/8. You're going to need 2 of those, and put some tape runner on the back of those, and you will attach them here and here. Okay. Now you can work on the top, on your lid. You're going to use a piece for the top of the lid, 5 1/2 inches by 1 5/8 inches. Be your cut. And I have that here. You might want to pay attention if you use a pattern that has a direction to it so that it's going towards the front. Okay, so let me get some runner on that, and we will attach that very quickly using fast fuse. Oops, I did it backwards. That's what I told you not to do. Hopefully that will keep you from doing it. Okay, and then we have one more piece for the lid, and the front of the lid is going to be 5 1/2 by 1 1/2 inches. So we will get some runner on that and tape that on. And we are good to go. Okay. I'm going to add a simple embellishment on the very front corner. This is just something I had in my stash. I think it's an old ornament for weddings, and it's just perfect on there. So find something that you have, or a button. Just use a little glue dot to put that on. And then the next thing I need to do is the handle. The handle, I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo, and it is 7 inches by 3/4 inch. I also cut a piece of the silver glimmer paper, and this is 6 inches by 1/4 inch. And on the back of that, you can see I've already put my score tape. So I'm going to peel the backing off and lay it here. And it will not go quite to the edge. I was being stingy because that's the size piece I had. But just center that as close as you can get it. That's beautiful. All right, last thing, I have my brads. Now, I only had these brass ones, so I just simply took a silver Sharpie and colored in the brass ones, and you can see the difference, but they look just fine. So I'll be using those brads. I'm going to use a paper piercer and my little piercing pad. Right at the end of that glimmer, piece of glimmer paper, I'm going to make a hole with my paper piercer and kind of make it just a little bit larger so I can get that brad in. Do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the brads in. See how pretty those look? I like to make do with what I have anytime I can. So that is ready to be attached. Now I'm going to lay my box upside down, and I'm going to attach this, and you can tell it's bigger than your box because you want that handle to come up. So I'm just going to eyeball it, and maybe about a half an inch or so in the center, I'm going to punch a hole. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure my piercing mat is underneath me. About a half an inch in. And it should be right there. Should make it look pretty close. Then I'll simply put my brads through. And see how that's going to come up. Poke that pad through. And then open them up on the other side. Yours won't have that writing on it. I just couldn't stand to waste that pretty paper. So open those up, and you've got your handle. Looks like this. Pretty. Now, the last thing we need to add is the sentiment. And I took a 2.5 inch circle with the pink flamingo, flirty flamingo. On top of that, I have a 2 3/8 inch punch from my punch looks like that, and that's using that silver glimmer paper. And then I stamped an image from Ten of Cards, the happy birthday image, and I used the flirty flamingo color. So I've tape runnered those together, and I've got a pop dot here, Stampin' Dimensionals. 2 of those is all I need. Put that in the center, and then I'm going to put a little bit of fast fuse on the back to attach it to my card. Not to my card, I'm sorry, to my box. And that's going to look just like that without the glue all over my fingers. You can use pop dots if you prefer. I put just a little Velcro dot, self-adhesive dot right here and on the inside that holds that closed. And inside is going to go all 4 cards that we've made. So let me show you those quickly in case you missed out. We had a Happy Birthday to You card. We had the 3 embellishments card. They Celebrate You. And then the last one was the beautiful butterfly birthday card. So those are the 4 birthday cards that are going to fit inside your birthday box